Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I am your host, our Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. And I figured I'd address something because, as the source of gaming news, Johnson Games, that's Dave Johnson. Now, I'm not going to say that I know 100% that Dave was involved in doxing me, but if I was a betting man, I'd put a month of my pension down on it. Just how he's. I know he's had sock puppet accounts, as has Justin, but in any case, Johnson Games a few days ago. Eric Tenkar spreads disinformation designed to hurt other people's business. He should be blocked and banned. So I want to address that and let you know why. What does Tenkar give a shit? I mean, like I know from years ago when I was quote policing wayward Kickstarters, the ones that were way overdue, and people like Ken Whitman taking your money and delivering nothing. I had apologists saying, "Oh, we don't need the fucking Kickstarter police, yada yada yada." Okay, my background, yes, and most of you know, I am a retired New York City police officer. I spent my early parts of my career in the late '90s in the South Bronx. We were, I don't know, a conditions unit, uniform narcotics, whatever. We filled whatever role was needed to get filled, and in the 97, 98, drugs were a big thing in the South Bronx. We were very effective, probably the most effective unit doing this work in the city at the time. It was a bunch of rookies who didn't know any better and were very gung-ho and, who needed sleep. We were young. And we got death threats. Death threats called into the precinct, death threats received by anonymous paper mail to the command. Just you'd arrest somebody, and it's like, officers, just so you know, man, there's like $1,000 for somebody to take one of you guys out. Well, that's good to know. Pass it on to intel. Threat assessments unit, because I mean, that was part and parcel of the job. And when that started getting cleaned up, we moved on to enforcing the prostitution laws. Our command, South Bronx, 4-1 precinct, best known, I guess, Fort Apache, had a huge prostitution condition. So addressing that, and the pimps had no problem either trying to bribe us, that wasn't going to work, intimidate us, or again, put a quote bounty out on us. It was part and parcel of the job. You took it seriously enough that you checked your car before you left. Worst I ever had was a dead cat left on my hood when I was parked in front of the station house. I happen to be a cat lover, so that was not a great thing, but it comes part and parcel. So now, here I am in the gaming community, and I see people, individuals that prey on my fellow gamers. Not every gamer does their due diligence before backing something or for investigating a company or buying something or pre-ordering on Kickstarter or whatever you're going to call it. It's not a pre-order. It's not even a promise. It's I hope I do this. You all heard that shit from Ken Whitman. So my history and that stuff started with the Gygax Memorial Fund. I invested Gygax Memorial Fund because money was going into it. Nothing was coming out of it. And one of the first things that happened after I started publicly doing that was Gil Gygax threatened me with legal action that would have potentially cost me a shit ton of money to defend myself against. And from somebody who spent a career getting threats always meant that you were doing something that was on target. If we weren't effective dealing with narcotics, if we weren't effective dealing with prostitution, they wouldn't have given a fuck, right? If we were just an annoyance, you're an annoyance. But for Gail, I was more than an annoyance. I was a threat. So, what do? Threat of legal action. Most people, threat of legal action, you're going to go, holy shit, I can't afford it. I'm done. Again, I've had bigger threats in my life. Okay. Hey, listen, I rent. I don't own a house. So there's only so much blood you can get from a stone. Okay. Next legal threats. Ken Whitman. Why? Because I kept on pointing out his various scams. And let's admit it, they were various scams. He was working the Kickstarter scam like it was a pyramid scheme. Ken would say, I got the FBI notified they're going to be waiting at your door. I was like, that's great. When the imaginary FBI comes to my house, I'll break out the imaginary donuts and coffee. We'll have a great time. He'd be like, oh, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to file a DCMA takedown. All this wonderful stuff. Never actually happened, but the threats are there because threats are done to intimidate. Okay? And it's human nature that if somebody makes a threat, it's fight or flight, right? And we are wired for one or the other. That's really what it comes down to. You either fight back or you flee. And the way most people are, and this might not be you, but most people, especially when they're like, well, what's my actual gain out of this? And if Ken Whitman's threatening me with legal action because I'm revealing that he's scamming people out of their money. None of this money is mine. None of these Kickstarters that I back. There's no benefit to me. So the threat should have literally made me retreat. But I fight and flight. I fight. That's how I'm wired. But also, my last years in public service were as a sergeant in internal affairs, where I got to see not just accusations against honest cops from the public that were making these accusations hoping to get an honest cop in trouble, which we've seen that even in the hobby. But I would also see dishonest cops that were preying on their fellows, not just the public, which is bad enough, right? But they're preying on their own, stealing out of others' lockers. Okay, so I saw all of that. So when I was in internal affairs, my goal as a supervisor, that's what I would tell my investigators, is I don't care whether you find proof of guilt or proof of innocence. I want proof of the truth. We want the truth. Okay, I'm not looking. We're not like hanging our hat on convictions. We're not hanging our hat on exonerations. We're hanging our hat on the truth, because the truth trumps all. Right? Of course, in that political world, sometimes higher ups would take the truth and make something go away because somebody was too important. But that's neither here nor there. So now we come to this world, right? The world of tabletop gaming, and I have been threatened by legal action by some pretty well-known individuals and some lesser-known individuals. And the threat is always because I was shining bright light on acts that were at best improper, often at worst potentially illegal. They certainly weren't good acts. So I was showing the truth. And I got the threats. Now, one thing with me, again, I've mentioned it just now, right? You threaten me, I fight back. I don't flee. That's not in my personality. It's not the way I am wired. I wouldn't have been a cop for 20 years, at least not an effective one, if I was wired differently. So when you threaten me, when you make that threat, that threat, and it's always a threat of legal action in this community. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to take your house, your car, your salary. You're gonna be paying forever. These threats are all made to intimidate because they're always trying to hide something. So the moment there's that threat, you've just told me that maybe I was 90% sure that you were a piece of shit, but that legal threat, just convince me 100% you're a piece of shit because you are afraid. If I was just an annoyance, if what I was bringing to light might be like, well, yeah, it's truthful, but it doesn't really matter. It's nothing, and there'd be no threat. And if it was lies, if it was misinformation, uh, or Tenkar spreads disinformation designed to hurt other people's businesses, he should be blocked and banned. Thank you again, Dave. If it was misinformation, that's all it was, right? You would fucking ignore that shit, all right? That's misinformation is a dime a dozen in this community, all right? We all hear rumors. I don't act on rumors. I go for screenshots, right? Like when I was covering the Chad Revenge, I literally did a video going through the Twitter feed. Now, why did I do that? Because it's public knowledge. It's already out there. I'm just giving wings to something that's already out in the public. There's other information that I am privy to, different investigations, as I would call it, or different situations in the community that I am privy to that is not shared, including with TSR, just so Justin knows. But I am, my background, I need generally 2 sources to confirm anything before I go public with it if I don't have a screenshot. And that's why there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get out there. Now, that being said, why am I bringing this up? Well, because somebody the other week, now, can I absolutely positively say who it was? No. I will let you draw your own conclusions. But somebody went through a third-party service to send me a package that was really heavy and small. I was like, well, what the hell is it? I shook it. I didn't order miniatures and stuff. You know, it's heavier than a book. Weird size. So I took it to the kitchen and carefully opened it up with a knife. And inside I saw a plastic bag within it of what looked to be and proved to be clay with straw intermingled in it. And it's like, oh, you've been pooped on. And I was like, oh, okay. So somebody just wasted a good amount of money to send me fake shit. Now, was the fake shit sent for any reason? Of course. It's the same reason why you leave a horse's head in some bed in a movie, right? It's intimidation. We know where you live. Just so people know, there's a service you can spend about $15 a month for. You can find out whatever information you need to know about pretty much anybody. As long as you know. It doesn't even actually have to be their legal name. You can dig deep and you can find out a lot of information pretty quickly. Justin, I did that for you a year and a half ago. Have I used any of it? No, because it's not relevant to what's going on at TSR. But sending stuff to my house, I already know that TSR knows where I live since one of the TSR Army doxed me on YouTube a little while ago. You know, again, you know, who's behind these accounts? But definitely TSR Army. So I don't get intimidated. I don't. Okay. So that was what this intention was. And hey, listen, is it possible that one of my many good friends actually was sending this as a joke and just forgot to, you know, notify me afterwards? Hey, did you get my poop bomb? But I doubt it. It just sounds like it's another attempt to intimidate. I find it amusing. But again, it just tells me that I'm on target. Right? And that's how do you get Tenkar off target? How do you get Tenkar to just stop looking at something? Fucking fix your shit. All right? Stop interacting with everybody online like you're there as a, I don't know. And I'm not going to try to insult anybody who happens to ride a motorcycle or is in a motorcycle organization. But when you deal with everybody, so because like you're in the tattoo world / motorcycle world / chest bumping, and you're going to intimidate everybody, It's not how you drum up business in gaming. I don't know if that's something that needs to be sat down and you can be spoken to about that. I mean, I'm sure there are people that actually care about TSR and want to see a product come out that could give basic lessons on how not to interact with the community. I haven't seen that with TSR. So, again, uh, as somebody who has been sued for multiple $1 million multiple times in my career, and for somebody who's gotten death threats in my actual career and has gotten numerous legal threats in my retirement career of looking into wayward Kickstarters and other scams, or maybe not full scams, but bad business practices and abuse of community. Um, yeah, no, I'm not going away. If you don't like, there are people who go, enough with this TSR shit, and I understand that. Don't watch those episodes. They're labeled. You know, we don't surprise you. I don't go, oh, I'm going to sneak in TSR. Generally speaking, that shit's labeled, right? Go watch Gamers Health. Go watch Iron Rations. Go watch Dungeons and Dragons and Discourse. Talking Crit with Mike and I. Don't ignore the TSR stuff, but I can't ignore it. I can't ignore it because, again, fight or flight. I'm always of the attitude and the mindset of fight. So as long as there's still attempts at intimidation, I'm not going anywhere. God, my wife thinks that I'm actually enjoying this, and I guess I am because it makes me feel like I'm working again. It makes me feel like I'm a cop in the late '90s. It's like, oh, fake poop. Not quite the same as a dead cat in my on my car hood, but similar message. That's okay. It means I'm doing good work. On that note, folks, we are still in the midst of the world of pandemic. Please, if you aren't yet immunized, and I really don't care personally whether you are or aren't because it doesn't affect me one bit. Okay, but for your own health, you should talk to a medical professional who knows your medical history and be guided by their advice. That's my advice to you. Ignore the talking heads. You know, most of them are, again, talking heads. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice, and God willing, I'll be back again tomorrow. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I got some money in some pools. Let's see if it pans out. Maybe I get money to take a trip to Lake Geneva. Make a personal appearance. Or not. Really. I just saw the map for the vendors hall at GaryCon. The vendors hall is almost a mile away from the rest of the convention center. I go to socialize. I go to talk to vendors. I don't really go to play games. So that's going to be a big change. So now. All right. On that note, I'm out of here.